The following podcast has been brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up now using the URL audibletrial.com/TTV to get a free audiobook of your choosing. We recommend Brick by Brick, How LEGO Rewrote the Rules of Innovation and Conquered the Global Toy Industry. You may recognize this as one of the sources we use in our show, Bionicle Autopsy. Remember, that's audibletrial.com/TTV. Enjoy the show. Five, four, three. You gonna cut me off, Messa?
No, I'm not.
Five.
But I reserve the right to.
Bad Messo.
At which point you have the right to yell at me. Anyway, go on.
5, 4, Messo. You gonna cut me off now? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sync. Hello, everybody, and welcome.
No. That's not how you do the intro, Messo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to TTV episode 158.
If you know what I mean.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TTV podcast episode 158.
Yay!
How's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Mardi Gras.
I'm Piper. That's not how you say Mardi Gras.
That's not how you
It's like-
say Mardi Gras.
It's like that was an afterthought. It was like, yay, hey, everybody, hey, oh yeah, that's right, Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, that's right,
No
Mardi
one likes
Gras.
Mardi
I forgot
Gras.
we did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Viper, can you explain the Mardi Gras joke to me?
Oh well, one day, Messo recorded randomly Mardi Gras, and that's where it came from.
Messo recorded randomly Mardi Gras.
Great
It's funny because
explanation.
that's actually what happened.
He randomly recorded Mardi Gras, and that's where it came
It's
from.
funny because that's why it's
That's
funny
also where
because he
cotton
recorded
candies
Mardi
for the
Gras.
week came from.
No, that's actually not. That
No,
came from
no,
a,
Isn't
that
it?
came
I
from a
thought it
video I
was.
deleted.
Yeah, no.
No. It was a St. Patrick's Day parade coverage that I never put
Oh,
up.
one of your other
That's where it came
parades. Like, do you
from.
live outside like a parade road? Like every.
No, that one's actually out of state. I went to that one with a friend of mine. But Mardi Gras was
You drove
Mardi Gras
drove out of state to go to a parade?
Yeah,
No,
I didn't drive it. I went with like a friend.
Messo, you went to the parade with the friend of yours, your only.
Oh
friend.
yeah, my bad. You're right.
Hey, hey, it doesn't matter how many friends you have. If you have a true friend, that's all you need.
Well, thanks for that, Viper. But
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you were able to be here to defend Messo's pride.
That'd be like defending an empty basket.
It's totally worth waiting 45 minutes for.
out. But yeah, the Mardi Gras parade was like right outside my front door. Literally, like I step outside my door and that's where I recorded.
I'd be like that meme where that like fat nerd just like sees the fireworks, looks out the window, shuts the curtains, and sits back down. When it comes to like parades and stuff. If you
What
ever
are you
seen
trying
that.
to say about Messo, Viper?
I'm not saying anything. I don't know how
Leave
he
me
feels about
alone.
Mardi Gras.
I love.
You
Mardi
did say something, though. You're saying it
I love
now.
Mardi Gras.
Excuse me.
Not enough to ever record it again, but yeah, I like it.
Messo, no one cares about Mardi Gras. Can you stop talking about
Okay,
it?
fine. So, alright,
Thanks.
may as well go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Messina.
I'm Barteran.
I'm Kahi.
I'm Viper.
I'm Takunda.
And this is 158! Yeah!
Why do you do it like that?
I thought we should
Can't
just
wait.
intensify the names. Just
Make it more entertaining.
more edgy,
Podcast is
People-
more
intense.
edge, more
Jordan.
rude.
Messinac. Viper.
We need to have dramatic background music when we're, like, saying our names.
Wait, you say that like we don't have that. Every week.
While we're saying our names, we need more dramatic background music.
Well, how do you want to make
The
it more dramatic,
Inception
Messo?
theme.
And his name is.
Okay,
Kahi
to
More
the
Johnson.
audience, I want to go ahead and address something. I'm very salty this episode. I've already
Yeah.
started off on the wrong foot with Messo here.
It's okay.
I already don't like Messo.
Look, it's okay,
Uh-oh.
Mark, because we have common ground this week. We have stuff we can relate
do we?
to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we do, huh?
So
We should have
we'll-
recorded that as our after show, so people would know
That
what
would
we're
have been
talking about.
great. We had like
We
a
should have
pre-show
totally
after
done
show.
that.
All you would have heard is like Messo like trying to say stuff, and then me just shouting
Yeah,
curse
it sounded
Yeah.
like, well, how could you say that?
It would just be
Michael,
the whole,
you're
the whole
you're
after
totally
show
wrong.
would just be bleep. I know with absolute certainty.
It just astounds me
bleep.
how wrong Messo can
Straight
be.
up
Listen,
Right.
Beep, 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 beep,
just-
beep, beep, beep,
It'd be like bleep, 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 bleep.
life is like a box of chocolates.
stop,
Not
I'm
everything
enjoying that.
tastes
No.
good.
What? That's not how any of this works.
It's just like if I was arguing with a chimpanzee about U.S. politics or something. It's like the chimpanzee clearly
The
has no clue
chimpanzee
what the
was
heck
like,
it's even
life's
doing
like
in
a
this
bunch
argument.
of bananas. You don't know which one you'll
But
get.
it just
Life is like a box of chocolates. Everything melts eventually.
Oh, that's...
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Well, unless you
How
put it in the
profane.
fridge.
Put life in the fridge.
yeah, you could just like not let
life
it.
in the
Unless
fridge.
you cryogenically freeze yourself.
Everything dies except for that you refrigerate. Thank you, serial killer Viper.
Oh man.
Cryogenics.
How's everybody?
I mean, just ask Walt Disney.
Yeah.
How's
Who's the guy from
everybody's
Futurama?
week been?
Was it?
Oh man,
Fried.
Futurama. That was a good show.
never
Futurama was
watched
was a stupid show.
Futurama was like my favorite show when I was younger.
I mean, I
That's
used
why
to
it's
watch
stupid.
it when it was
I
on.
thought
you were
Family
younger?
Guy. I thought Family Guy was your favorite show.
No,
Yeah,
Family
I
Guy
liked
was like
Family Guy.
Family Guy was like it had a golden era, but then it tapered off. Futurama was like consistently good
Well,
every
that's
season.
kind of
thought
the
it
same
was-
as
It's funny because
Simpsons.
Mess is like,
they
oh,
had
when
a-
I was
they had
younger.
years that was
Yeah, I know,
Now
right?
that
When I was
good.
younger, I was
Now
watching.
that he's an
like,
adult, he watches such complex shows as Ninjago and Chima.
It's like a 5-year-old kid. Like I remember in my younger days when I first came out the womb.
and watched Breaking Bad.
But yeah,
Game of
when I came
Thrones.
out the room,
Wait, what?
my first ever book was quantum physics.
We're not talking about Stephen Hawking. Here.
Okay, not gonna lie.
Physics, the book.
There was a point, like, oh gosh, probably around 7. I'm gonna say it was like, gosh.
Oh my gosh.
It took you so long to
Takuma.
tell your story.
You're
I'm
giving
sorry,
me
I just now
flashbacks of
realized
Ben
how
here.
flippin' old I am. It was
Okay,
around
yeah.
7 years ago. I started reading a book about string theory for fun.
Well, you have no idea how bored
Wow.
people get sometimes.
Thank you for
Takuma,
sharing.
master of humble brag. Good grief.
Hey,
Well,
I
I don't know
not
used
right.
to-
I'm
about
just saying
you
it was
plebeians,
weird.
but I was reading quantum physics books and string theory.
It was no
and
big
that
deal.
When I was a
Yeah.
kid, I
That
used
was
to
just
watch
fun. Stuff.
geographical documentaries about volcanoes and also about space and black holes.
Yeah, and I used to read books about dinosaurs. BIONICLE, everybody.
Dinosaurs were cool
Yeah.
too.
I want my bionicle dinosaurs.
That was a shame that never actually.
It was a shame. That already sounded more interesting than 2009. It's like we were talking about the best set waves, and these guys had the good idea. Like, what if 2009 was like Mad Max, where everybody
Yeah,
drove
okay,
around
yeah, we
cars?
were like-
Lovely day.
That- okay, yeah, it's because
Let's talk about this.
It was awesome.
it was because we were having a debate with Meso again. And Meso's always wrong when he's in debates.
Listen.
So it was always like it's like a one-sided
Wilson.
argument where like one side is making clear and interesting points, and the other side, Meso, is just being stupid and just disputing everything because he just feels like it. He's just like, yeah, I don't agree with that.
He's the
No, that's not the
anti-culture.
definition of the word. I mean,
I can redefine the word culture on a whim.
Meso the anti-culture.
anyway.
Anyhow.
The whole idea is that we didn't really like how 09 was handled, so we kind of sort of made our own idea of how we would have liked to have seen 09.
Right. It's
And
like-
it already seemed like they were heading in that direction to begin with, where they had like these really cool vehicles. I think that's why the argument started.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
It was-
Meso was saying that the vehicles were better or whatever.
we
Yeah,
were talking
the
about
vehicles
sets.
are
We were
basically
talking
the
about the
saving
best
grace
sets.
of that year.
Remember?
Yeah, it was the best sets.
And we were talking about like the 2008.
we were
versus
arguing about
2009.
the Jetrax versus the Syndox.
There we go. Yeah.
Thornatus.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or Thornatus, yes. Sorry. Thornatus V9 versus the Jetrax.
Yeah.
And whether the Jetrax is better or not. We were like, oh yeah, and the whole argument about the vehicles and how like it would have been really cool if 09 had actually utilized their vehicles more in the story.
Right.
And that went into this whole thing about how since they're already on this like deserted area filled with nothing but like sand and landscapes of sand, and they've got these pimped out vehicles with like bone aesthetics, it would have been cool had they gone with like a Mad Max sort of theme where like it's all about racing and getting
Right.
to places and surviving on this desolate area.
Yeah. But
Right.
now they,
That
That would be
all they
awesome.
did was...
I'd love that. That'd be cool.
Like, okay, imagine this. All of the villages are like one giant racetrack, and they're all built around like this kind of, multi-layered and like, all these different exits and shortcuts and stuff you can take, and it's all that, and the entire village is this giant kind of racetrack thing, and then the entire culture's built around these races. Everybody comes out to see them because, same way the Glatorian work. Instead of being like fighters, they're racers. They build their machines, they build them out of scratch, and they kind of put them together and stuff. Like that would kind of put together that, the Lego Bionicle feel, like putting stuff
Right.
together. And
It would make
fair.
sense, yeah, because building.
Yeah,
Right.
build
All
your own
that happened-
vehicles and things like that.
the few times the vehicles did show up in story, they did mention how they used them to fight in arenas, but they didn't, like, race, I don't think. They just were in an arena and they, like, drove in circles and shot
Like
at
chariots.
each other. Yeah,
Right.
basically. And it sounded super uninteresting.
Yeah, there's no real reason to have
Right.
like vehicles like the way they have them.
No, they were just fluff for
The,
the
the vehicles did look cool, and like it would be just awesome to see that. And instead of going to an arena, we would have gotten a racing game, which I thought would be kind of.
And
cool.
also, like, just
Like Mario Kart.
gladiators. Gladiators are kind of a cool idea, but it didn't really work for the setting that they were in.
right?
No.
Because like Bionicle isn't bloody, and that's part of the thing. Like you watch Gladiator, that movie, and it's like lone warriors, and they're fighting all these beasts, and they get cut up, and they're like, and everything looks like it's at an end, and you can't get that with Bionicle. You really
Nope.
can't. And then we were like, all right, imagine at the end, it's like Madanui, and he has this like junk together, car, and then like Chuma's there, and he has like the equivalent of a monster truck.
Oh,
and they're
man.
He's got, like,
it's there's
scabsy teeth
there's a
over the front of
there's
his
like in Mad
face.
Max, that sandstorm that's like had the sand
Oh my
tornadoes.
god, that scene
And
was so great.
So awesome. And then like Chuma's driving in this giant rig, and he's blasting with tornadoes, and like
Okay,
Madanui's
real talk
waving
here.
around.
That movie was a work of art.
I really wanna
love
see
that
it.
movie so
Amazing.
much.
For a movie that has like zero plot. Hey, we should see it sometime. It's on it got DVD quality.
Oh my god, we should.
We should.
Yes.
We really
should
should.
sync it.
Yeah, we should. I'm down for
Yeah, I
tonight.
saw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I saw
do
the
it. Let's do it
trailer
right now,
and I was
tonight.
like, "Whoa, I
do it
want to
tonight.
see
You know,
this
what,
now."
let's just
I
scrap
don't-
this podcast and go watch Mad Max.
Yeah,
let's
Let's,
do
let's do it right now.
Yo, for no
Right
plot,
I have
that
literally no
movie's
idea
so
what
good.
any of you have been talking about.
It's
Wow,
a film that
Takuma, keep up.
But yeah, no, it's like that movie has like zero plot. The plot
Zero
in that
plot.
is basically not existent.
The plot
But
is,
it's
like-
Sometimes
such
it's
a
best
good movie.
They go in a line, and then they just go back
Yeah,
and
they
forth.
drive in a line.
They drive
That's
in a
the
line.
premise of the
That's
movie.
the premise of
They
the
go
movie.
down a road.
then you have like films like
No, they go off road.
you have films.
That's the movie.
Yeah, that's the premise. They were
That's the premise.
supposed to go down a road, and instead they turned off road.
They turned
That's
left.
the premise.
And they kept going.
Well, then you have action films that like have too much plot, where it's like literally half the movie is like plot. Agent 47.
Fantastic Four. TTV
Takes you
Talks,
out
check
of
it out.
Yeah.
TTV Talks, movies,
Let's do it.
Mad Max. Yeah, just before we get off the Mad Max train, though, if you haven't watched that movie, go watch that
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Actually, I imagine
no.
most of our audience isn't old enough to
Yeah,
see
it is rated
Watch it
R,
when
so
you're
be
older,
forewarned.
kids.
When
Watch
you're
it when
that. Watch it
you're
when you're older.
But okay, we were talking about world building. Well, I'll tie this back into Bionicle. We talk about world building in Bionicle all the time. That movie has some of the most phenomenal world building I feel ever.
Yeah,
I've seen.
I feel like that does a great job of really building up a world without explaining
Right,
the world.
exactly.
And you have to figure it out yourself.
Like,
and I think that's really important.
World building is all about the feel of something, and that's why it's harder to do. I personally feel it's harder to do in a book. I feel it's best done like in a movie or like a video game or like in pictures. Something visual, because when you take in like there's all these little details that go into the world, and people just see them. Sometimes they do stuff with them, and it just adds to the world. Like in Mad Max, this is not a spoiler. Mad Max, they have the little steering wheels. Everybody has a steering wheel, and when they go and they get into the thing, all the cars they have just like the axle. They don't have the steering wheel in them, and all the warriors, all the drivers will jump and they'll scream, they'll shout, and they all go and they grab these steering wheels. And each of them has their own steering wheel. And they run, they jump in the vehicle, and they put the steering wheel on, and that's the kind of thing that's like.
And you know what it is? It's like the steering wheel signifies how they become one of the warriors.
Right.
That's when they've surpassed like their training into becoming a road warrior, so that you can get into the car and actually drive your own vehicle.
Right, and all
Steering
the-
wheels are a really important part of their culture.
Right. And they're all
But it's not
decorated and stuff.
explained. It's just
Yeah.
it's one scene where they run over, grab a steering wheel, and jump into a car.
Show,
and that's
don't
it.
tell.
And there's
Yeah.
there's one thing I keep saying. There's one. It's 1 second. It's just a shot of him driving across this marsh. All right, and you see for maybe not 1 second, like 2 or 3 seconds, and then you see like what looks to be like just giant plants in the mark, and then one of the plants moves, and you realize it's a person on stilts, and they're walking around, and they're trying to fish, and that's a whole nother world right there. There's a world of marsh people that walk in stilts, and they have their entire thing built there,
And
you
they
just-
they completely avoid them.
Yeah.
They drive around them and just
Right.
ignore them. It's like a brief shot that shows these people like on stilts, and it's like, what even are they doing? What is
Right.
this? What
What
is
is
going
this
on?
culture? What are they doing? Anyhow, that's how you do world building. That's how you do
fantastic
world building,
What a movie. We gotta watch it.
Fantastic movie.
But you know what isn't a
we do.
fantastic movie? Fill in the blanks.
Let's. We already did the TV talks and fantastic.
So,
Yeah, which I
that's
watched,
it,
and that was
right?
hilarious.
Yeah, it was
Last
good.
word.
We're just some
Label.
kind of Fantastic Four.
Hashtag Will Smith.
Dude, I want to do that for like everything now. It's like they see like the
TTV
toa come up and like
Suicide
they
Squad.
find who's it? Unalak or not
Unalak.
What's his name?
Umarak.
Who's that talking about Korra?
Unarak.
No, not Unarak. It's Umarak.
Umarak? Okay, sorry. No, I feel like they've seen, they have that
He's
scene
a
in the book
bloodbender.
where
It's
they're
okay.
like, oh, so that's it, huh? He's just some sort of skull grinder.
Man, that was... okay, see, it's funny that we mentioned world building since the book has actually been released, and you can actually read it now. It's on Amazon. It's on wherever. Let's give like brief thoughts on the
Okay,
book.
because full disclosure, we're going to talk about it more in depth in a separate thing.
We're going to do a new series, basically.
For now,
Yeah, we'll be doing a series where we'll go a bit more
I'll
in
go
depth.
first because I've I'm me. I've been vocal. The book pretty much met all my expectations when all was said and done. It wasn't perfect. I have some flaws with it, but what I was hoping it would achieve, it did achieve. So I give it an 8 out of 10. I'm satisfied.
I also give it an 8 out of 10. They're definitely... I really enjoyed it. It was a good read. I felt it was a bit too short. Dialogue was a little stunted.
Okay.
I
I'll get
didn't like... I'll go ahead and let you finish, Kai, and I'll continue about what
just
I
real quick, I think like I like the book so far. I've only been halfway through it, so I haven't finished it. So far, I like it. From a perspective, this is a kid's book. My big thing of it is that I'm a guy who likes dialogue, and I feel like all the characters sound the same. No matter who they are, no matter their personality,
Okay,
I feel like whenever I
yeah.
read them, I can't tell which character is which just by the dialogue. And you don't need to make every character unique. I get there's a lot of characters, but it is a little weird where like the kid and the village elder and the kind of goofy warrior all sound the same from a dialogue
Yeah,
standpoint.
Stiff and formal. That's the kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like kind of like they sound formal. They sound like everything. They don't use contractions sometimes. I don't know. They don't have their own voice to them.
Contractions don't exist in the BIONICLE
Yeah,
universe.
pretty much. I don't recall them being used at all.
Like levers.
Yeah.
The buttons.
Confirmed by Merlin Mann. It's a coded dialect. Levers and buttons are in there.
I thought
The
that the
Neva
the first half of the book, everything before the Toa met up was gold. And we got like everything. We got funny character interactions. We got world building.
See, this is that's my
that was
issue with it.
nice.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's my issue with it as well. It's like the first half of the book is really good, and then it kind of drops the ball as soon as you get to that middle point where they make it into the city.
Yep.
And that's where it's like the rest of the book just feels like it was
It
tacked
feels very
on. And
rushed. And there's also
And my biggest issue with it is that the first half is good. Because the first half, while it covers the same events that we see in the animations, it gives you a lot more detail about it and a lot more information regarding it, all like the backstory and everything. Then we get to the second half, and it's like the second half is nothing but repeated transcripts of the animations. That's what it felt
The dialogue is the
where
same.
it's like the dialogue is nigh word for word exactly as it is in the animations, and all it does is just describe what happened.
Which is ridiculous because that dialogue was presumably written for the animations first, so it was condensed down into this format to be a minute and a half long. There's no reason why that has to carry over word for word to the book. They can change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So what probably happened
And it-
was when this person wrote the book, the 2015 story hadn't been fully done. It was planned out. He had a framework to work off of, so he just worked off that framework.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. It's just weird to me because it's like something had to have changed halfway through because the first half did a great job of giving us new dialogue and new story and new things to work
Yep.
with. So I don't understand why the second half couldn't do the same.
Nope.
And like, it's also strange that we got names for all the characters except for the skull buttons. Like we've got that was really weird. Like when they find Liwa, spoilers if you're watching.
It's already
It's
happened
not-
in the
not really-
animations.
Okay, yeah, never mind. It's not a spoiler. When they find Liwa, they're like, "What happened?" He's like, "He took my mask. He calls himself Skull Slicer."
What?
It's just like,
So
what?
that's it, huh?
What? Does he really call
Just
himself
some
that?
kind of skull
He's
slicer.
like, call me the skull
We just saw him
slicer.
come to slow slice.
That was the worst, and they do it with Basher too, but it's worse because they say they call him Skull Basher.
Yeah, who's they?
Who is they?
They call him Skull Basher.
Remind
Who
me,
calls
who
him
wrote
Skull
this book
Basher?
again?
See, I think
Writer
Skull
Wyndham.
Basher as a name as a whole just sounds so much better than Skull Slicer. 'Cause it's
I
like
agree.
it does.
it
Sounds
demonstrates
It does,
his
it's just, but,
strength.
like,
so, like he can crush.
The thing is,
skulls.
we know these characters have names. At least Kolta does.
Yep.
And it makes sense that the others might as well, but it's just like, why would they call them... First of all, why would they call themselves Skull Basher and Skull Slicer?
Wait, what were they called before they became skull
Okay,
things?
That was my thing. It's
Like-
like, were they always skeletons? What is this implying?
Like, no, yeah, like, they're remains. Like, we know that.
Just something I want, because I haven't read the book yet. But what you say, so he calls himself Skull Slicer and they call him Skull Basher. I almost get this feeling like everyone's like, Skull Basher's Mr. Popular. So everyone's like, yeah, Skull Basher and Skull Slicer. Like, I wanted to be popular too, so I'm gonna just call him. But it never caught on with anyone else.
That is,
Yeah.
interesting because they do mention like Skull Bashers of some kind of notoriety because Akimu knows about him. He's like,
Skull Slicer,
Skull,
God,
Skull
that's-
Basher
what a
is
cool
Skull
name.
Grinder's personal servant or whatever. He's his right hand man.
Yeah,
Skull
how does he know that? Were the skull people there before, like Skull Grinder and all
so
that
it
stuff?
seems to be the
Something like
implication.
discussed
That's-
is like, are the Skull villains a completely different race, kind of like the Forerunners in Halo?
Maybe.
Right, but it's just like, it's so weird because I can't tell if like it's intentional implications, like they're intentionally setting that up, or if that's just poor writing.
Yep. I would like to think that it was the former, so that's what I'm going to bank on until further notice. The Skull villains
Yeah,
existed
but it's-
before.
It's just really weird that instead of just having Skull Slicer say, my name is Skull Slicer, they had to have Liwa tell us that he said his name is Skull Slicer. That's just, why?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, that's just such a weird
You
dialogue.
think like
thing.
he
It's
took his mask? He's like, tell the others. Skull Slicer
like,
did this to
when did he
you."
say that? Like,
Except he
by
doesn't.
the way,
have
my
a
name is Skull
voice
Slicer.
Like that.
Tell the others.
He
Tell
left
the
a
others
note.
that Skull Slicer strikes.
He left a note on Liwa's forehead or something. My name is Skull Slicer or something.
Like, Skull was like, say my name.
Say my
You're
name.
Skull Slicer.
Yeah.
You're gosh dang right.
it's just,
It was bizarre.
it's
No,
weird.
No,
It-
no. If he's gonna leave a message on his forehead, it's gonna say damaged.
Nice. Nice.
I didn't know Jared
I'm not
Leto was
gonna
in
kill
this.
you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really
There's some
bad.
kind of Skull Basher. But yeah, the dialogue in this is definitely
Not the best. It's
not
the
the
weak
best.
point.
Yeah, probably the worst part about it.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
also
which
funny,
is
like...
which
Well,
is really
I don't
strange
know.
because Greg's writing. I liked one of like pros of Greg's writing was the dialogue.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the biggest change here is dialogue versus like Greg and Writer Windham. So far, the writing style. Writer Windham's writing is pretty good. The dialogue is definitely where this book is lacking. And my one thing about this book versus what we've had as far as other books go is that it feels like this book can't make up its mind like what it wants to be. Because at certain points you can just absolutely tell that this book is just a book made for toys. And it's meant to advertise the toys. Because there's certain sections in the book where it's like, oh, Kopaka, you can transform your shield into riding snowshoes that you can use to slide down the mountain. It's like, you are clearly just advertising the set right now. It's so clear.
Yep.
100-page
It's
commercial.
like
have such
it's like the
Nice
Batman and
value
Robin
for
from the late
$19.99 here in the
90s.
U.S.
Yeah, it's like in random parts of the book where they have to go into the exposition about the tools in the mask. Like, oh, and you have a special mask, just like everyone else on the island, hint, hint, that you can all collect. Or
them all.
you've
Each
got
sold
this really
separately.
cool weapon, but you also have another weapon on your back that you can use to attach to yourself that can transform into your secondary form.
Whoa, I had
Hint,
no
hint,
clue. This
hint,
thing's
hint.
been on my back for this entire time.
Yeah, it's like it comes up at random points. Like it seems so out of place when it happens. Where it's like you've got this decent story, decent flow, and then suddenly it's just stopped by this like a blatant advertisement.
It's like you're
for
watching
the
a
toys.
TV show. It's like, we'll be right back after these messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Kopaka zoomed in on the skull spiders. Oh my gosh, you're close. No, Kopaka, you just have a special zoomy scope on your extra special unique mask that only comes with you.
Each set
Other
sold
sets
separately.
sold separately.
Yeah.
And then And then it gets even worse when it's like you can tell some of the writing was sort of changed to make it easier to read. But then there are also words where it's like, there's no way a kid's going to know what they're talking about right now. It's like Ryder Windham, you can tell like he's trying to write a good story, and he had to cut back to make it a bit more simple.
It's like when they go into the ancient cities, like Liwa flew around and looked at all the pyramidal ziggurats that are literally...
Yeah, like, wait, the pyramidal ziggurats. What? What is that?
Ziggurats are already by definition pyramidal. That thing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, well, maybe we just
like
helping
there
the
are
kids
certain
out.
points of the book where like the wording is so weird because it's trying to be simple, and then there are other points of the book where the wording is really, really good and really descriptive, but clearly out of the reading level that they're going for. So it's just like it's weird. The book is kind of a toss-up as far as like whether it's a decent read or if it's a blatant advertisement or if it's a kiddie
hoping
book.
that
I feel like it suffers from Amazing Spider-Man 2 syndrome.
Oh.
Where it's like, or like, I mean, you know, he wanted, like, the writer had an idea in mind what he wanted to write, and he tried doing that, and then the studio was like, or the studio Lego was like, yeah, that's great, but we kind of need to build, we kind of need to sell this stuff, we kind of need to sell this world,
Yeah,
we need
could
to
you
sell
just add
Sinister
this
Six, we need to sell,
here?
Aunt May movie.
Dial it back a little bit. Yeah, I get you.
That definitely is like what it seems, because
I'm hoping now that the characters have been established, perhaps future subsequent releases that maybe aren't focused on a primary story element, they may be like side stories, kind of like the Bionicle of old, they may be better, because he may have more creative freedom.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the first book is probably going to be the worst of the bunch that we get. I'm sure the rest of the books will be a bit better as far as
Revenge of
giving
Skull
us information,
Spiders hype, which I'm nicknaming Ross, by the way.
Ross.
Wait, what?
Revenge of the Skull Spiders,
Oh,
Ross.
Revenge of the Skulls.
Hopefully Lost
Yeah.
will return in Ross.
The exposition is also super blatant too.
Yeah, there's some
It's like they say things that are like, why did you just say that? Oh, just so you could give the audience some information. I get you.
But it had good moments, like all the Toa got equal screen time. That was nice.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the book. Don't get me wrong. The rest of the book is great, and I enjoyed how they kind of flowed between chapters too, where it's like you had like certain Toa building up to a certain point, and then that point's continued from the perspective of a different Toa.
Yep.
I thought that was clever. I like that.
I like that. That was cool.
I just think they could have done with the second half of the book being more fleshed out, because it's like the first 4 chapters are the winter story. The last 2 chapters are the summer story.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It could have used a bit more chapters to really give it a bit more.
like they could have even spent
honestly,
one whole chapter like saying back before Okoto got blown up. Here's what happened with the Skull villains and like where they came from. Flashback to present day.
See, the funny thing is, when I initially read the book too, and I got to Loss's scene where he gets his butt kicked, I'm like, wow, they really didn't change much from the book or from the animations. He's still kind of lame. But then I got to the Skull villains and their battle, and I'm like, wow, Loss got the most screen time of any of the villains this week,
Including Skull Grinder.
including Grinder. Yeah, he got the best fight scene out of all of them.
Yep. And like we won't go into excruciating details because that counts as spoilers, but the Skull villains kinda got wrecked. Basher especially.
Yeah.
Basher's was the worst of all time.
There was definitely one scene that we'll cover in the other show that was really good.
Yes.
And it's something that really caught me off guard, and I wasn't expecting it. So we will.
There are
I don't know what
positives.
you're talking about. Okay.
Now I need to get the book.
Yeah, I need to
okay.
read the book.
I mean, I was planning on getting it anyway, but
Let's
good
also
book.
be fair. We are kind of critiquing it a little.
less
Like
money, more problems.
we were.
I mean, you guys are. Me and Messa read the book, so
Yeah, I
it's
know.
good, right?
What I'm saying is that like we're adults now. When we read the Bionicle books, we were kids. The original
Oh, right.
ones.
I got you.
Yeah, so we are used to reading more adult geared stuff, and
That is
as a
very
kid, you might not be, as inclined. Some of the stuff might honestly be a bit too complex for you.
Like
You have to
pyramidal
remember
ziggurats.
Yeah.
that. Right. I mean, like, even so, like, I said beforehand, I was like, I've been reading Game of Thrones
That's the
recently.
problem
I've
with
been
me no matter
getting
what
that.
Yeah,
age
same.
you
I've
are,
been
'cause
reading
cigarettes are
Game of
already
Thrones
pyramidal.
too, and if I
Right.
was
So it's like I'm like, yeah, sure, it's not Game of Thrones, but I'm like, it's a kid's book. Why do I expect it to be like Game of Thrones? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, see,
You know-
that's the thing though, because like I haven't read any kids' books recently, so I
Right.
Same.
don't have any reference to compare, so I can't tell if this is actually a really
The
good
last
Right.
kids book, quote unquote, that I read were the Hero Factory books, which were written by Greg Farstein.
I think for me, I've been trying to read Percy Jackson recently because my siblings are into that. And it's a cool concept.
Not bad. I like Percy Jackson.
I don't like the concept. It's very meh.
I remember reading a book called Skullduggery Pleasant, and I'm not really sure. I'm sure it's like a teenager book, but
Yeah,
that
I've heard of
had
that.
a pretty interesting story.
Skulls? I'm
about,
interested.
like,
What's it
magicians.
about?
There was
Okay,
one
fine.
book that I read as a kid that I remember really liking called The Book Thief.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
you
made
know-
into a movie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He stole the movie, man. I mean, they stole. I already butchered my
It
joke.
probably
I
isn't
couldn't
as
even
good
get
as
the
the
joke
book,
right.
just because you get more context when you read the books. Like you get this whole like more world building, whereas like in a movie you've only got an hour to do it. And
Yeah, that's why
Right.
book
It
to
is
movie
hard.
adaptations pretty much always are awful, except
well,
for
you got
Hunger
to treat
Games.
it as a separate thing, even though
Hunger
it's based
Games
off...
is the only book to movie adaptation that I've seen that I think worked well.
What Lord of the Rings? Oh, you haven't seen Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
What about Star Wars? Oh.
Is that a book first?
Star Wars wasn't a book before it was
Yeah,
a movie.
What?
No, it wasn't. The book
Okay, you're
was
right, never mind.
released. There was a book released before the movie came out. Yes, but it was written off the script. It's like it was a
Fair
tie-in.
enough.
So, yeah.
Just wait
But,
until my book comes out before my movie.
Oh,
Oh right. Ender's Game.
one
that
thing
kind
at
of
a
thing.
time. Takuma, first the RPG, then the book.
I'm
Oh,
waiting
yeah.
for you
Oh.
guys for the
Yeah.
RPG.
Yeah.
Wait, listen. We did like a test. I put it up on the boards. We did like that
Wait,
test thing. Session
Did you post
0.
the story?
Yeah, I posted the story. You didn't read it?
No!
You haven't read the
Oh,
story?
and there's
yet?
another book
Kai
that I
wrote a
really like called The Thief Lord.
novelization of our like RPG adventure. Wait, what book?
Called The Thief Lord.
A thief.
There's another book.
Lord.
my segue. Where would you?
You and your thieves.
I'm sorry, I was thinking.
Okay, very good mind. Hey, there's a book
stop
actually I read
thinking.
called The Shadow Children, and that was one of my favorite series as a kid.
There's a book I read called The
I-
Doom Box. It was an
In
HF
secondary
book.
school, I was given a book called Blood Hunters, which was for free, and it was about like killer insects, and it was really interesting.
Hey guys, post in the comments below what your favorite
Like
childhood
everybody
book
else
was.
was
And
like,
the topic of board.tv
Oh my god!
podcast.com.
I remember. I don't remember the book itself, but I remember my school used to have book fairs all the time, and I remember there was this one horror book that I saw, and I read the first page, and I had nightmares about
Really?
that book
No.
for months. Yes,
really?
I have never
The
had a
first
nightmare
page.
off a movie before, but this book, I don't know what it was. That I don't even remember what happened. I like blocked it from my mind, but that first page screwed me up.
I would like to read this book now. Like, I'm always interested in the first page or like the first sentences of books. Because I feel like that's the hardest part. Like, if you ever sit down and try to write something, that first sentence is the hardest part.
I find it really easy
Yeah,
to
I don't
start.
know.
It's just continuing to steamroll through it and not lose momentum is hard for me.
That's also true. Yeah, I lose momentum a lot.
Oh man,
But
I gotta
It's
figure
like,
out what that
yeah,
book
I'm gonna
was.
do this and this is gonna happen, like, and I figure out the ending. It's just getting from the start to the end, which is the hardest part, and keeping the reader interested. Because if you're not interested, then that's your story, and you're the, you know, if you can't even enjoy your own story, then let alone anybody else enjoying it, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
Well, okay, I was just thinking about something too. Or I'm going to get back to the RPG, but like going off this book thing, and I'll tell you back to BIONICLE too. This is going to be great. So, as a kid, I remember reading. Like I read The Lord of the Rings as a kid. I was homeschooled, all right, so I had nothing to do but read books. So, I read The Lord of the Rings, and I read The Hobbit first, and I read the others. And I remember reading like the book of the copy of The Hobbit I had. There's a story in the back, and it was written by this kid. Or not this kid. It was written by a guy, but when The Hobbit came out, he was a kid. And he said that, like, when he was a kid, his dad, was the publisher for all these books. And his dad, came up, and, like, J.R. Tolkien came to him and he gave his manuscript for The Hobbit. And his dad wanted to know if it was good enough for kids to read, so he gave it to this boy. And the boy read it, and he had to write a review on it to basically say this will be published or this won't be. That's why he was on the back of this book. So I'm like, oh, hi, I kind of started the whole Lord of the Rings thing. But the interesting thing that got me is that the review he wrote for the book said that, he said, it's a fun tale with a lot of fantasy, mythology, and adventure. And it said it should be okay for like most kids of around 8 years old to read and enjoy. And I was like, 8 years old? The Hobbit? Really? That's where the reading level was back then? Like, right now we're doing this thing now with, like, BIONICLE books where there's this reading level that Ryder Wimham has to kind of adhere to, and it's like, you can't use so many words. But, I mean, if you've ever read The Hobbit, like, that's what 8-year-olds read back then.
That is a pretty big book. Not a big book,
yeah.
but, like a wordy book.
It's a wordy book. It has a lot of I mean, it's a Lord of the Rings book, It's, sure, it's not like Fellowship. It's a little simpler than that, but it's still really complex, and it surprises me that like our reading level, our comprehension has gone so low over time that now what's this book geared towards? 8 to 12-year-olds?
Grade 3 to 5.
Don't remember.
I think.
Right, no, but that's not the year. That's like the reading level. That's an arbitrary number.
Okay.
What's the age?
I think it was like 8 years old.
Can we go pull it up?
I don't remember.
I got it on standby. Let's see.
No, you don't. You don't.
No,
have
no,
it
The
on
no.
grade
standby.
level is 5, but the age level is 7 to 10.
7 to 10. See, and back then The Hobbit was so like this book should be around the size of a Hobbit if it was released back in the 40s.
This book should be around the size of a Hobbit.
That's, all things considered, that's still a pretty big book.
That's a pretty big
So
book.
Island of Lost
Tall or
Masks
something
has
like that.
Island of Lost Masks has 3 reviews, guys.
We should write our own reviews.
One
on that,
has a
on Amazon.
5-star review. It says good book. It has a lot of secrets in it, but the tellers still say the same thing as they do in the animations. Fair enough. The other one's in depth with 3 out of 5 stars. The other one's 4 out of 5 stars. Wish we could have had this sooner. So yes, we should all write reviews and post them. Everyone has read this book.
Well, we should
Hey,
do it
Meso.
after our series.
Well, yeah.
Which
Hey,
we'll
Meso.
do and put up on here.
Meso, I don't like your mouth.
Well, I mean, it
Where
is a
did that come
Paraka
from?
skull, so I mean, hey, it's pretty weird.
I don't like your S's.
Ah, yes.
Anyone else hear that? He's like,
Yeah, it's a freaking Gusarilla.
my ears.
You heard that? Oh my god.
Messinac.
This is what we have to deal with, guys.
I'm like a snake.
is why we don't-
A serpentine.
I'm a snake. I'm a
I'm Zactan, the snake.
Hey,
Oh man.
no.
It's like
Did I
a
personally offend you, baby?
I want to know what that horror book was. I'm so upset now. I need to figure out what it was. It killed
I'm
my
not
childhood.
curious.
Can you remember anything that happened? Like
I remember the cover. I don't remember anything about the cover other than that it was creepy. Then I read the first page, and then I looked at the cover, and it was just terrifying.
Man.
man,
And
I can't help
I
you.
remember like a kid dies on the first page, and like I remember he tried to like scream for help, but he couldn't scream. And like a monster or something came out of the bed or the closet or something, and just the description of it all was just
You
the most
should go
terrifying
to Reddit and go to Tip of My Tongue. That's a
That's the thing.
subreddit, and like and it's basically you're like you post something with like vaguely and be like, hey, does anybody remember like a video game or a book or a movie that had this scene in it or this thing in it, and people will get back to you. And honestly, I've seen them pull off like miracles, and people are like, how on earth could you find
I
this?
should do
from?"
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's like,
look it up.
I mean, I only read the first page. I don't know anything about the book other than that first page.
Right.
Oh, God. Oh, man, it scared the crap out of me. I was just like, I was stunned standing in that book fair. I was like, oh, God, what am I going to do with my life
'cause
now?
when I was,
I'm not going to be able to go to bed.
I read Blood Hunters, and I
Just
remember
have to
this
get used to
certain
nothing.
scene. It's a very gory book. There's a scene where this lady hits her head on the ceiling, and I just remember, not the ceiling, I mean the wall, and she just describes the warm, sweet smell of her blood. I'm like,
Okay, yeah, because it was also pretty gory, too, if I recall correctly. So it was surprising that was a kid's book.
yeah. I don't think mine was a kid's book. In fact, I didn't read as a kid because, I don't know, I was a weird kid.
Yeah, and I didn't watch horror movies or do anything horror related.
See, when I was a
Yeah.
kid, I wanted to watch like Terminator and things like that, and my parents were like, "No."
Yeah, because like other than Goosebumps, I wasn't exposed to scary things much. Now I love horror stuff.
Yeah.
Goosebumps is getting on the
Sinister
movie.
2, do you guys see that?
What?
Sinister 2, do you see that?
I have not seen that. I saw
I saw
heard
Sinister 1 too.
good
The first
stuff
one.
about it, but honestly,
Yeah,
I want
I've
to see
heard
it
some
myself
interesting
to
stuff.
judge.
But I've heard that it was really good and that reviews are wrong. And I know, well, yesterday I went and saw American Ultra, and the reviews to that have been like pretty mixed on like Rotten Tomatoes, and it was like such a good movie.
If only the
And
same
Max
could have been
Landis, the
said
guy who
for
wrote it.
Fantastic Four.
I know. But yeah, anyhow, they're talking about like how reviews have gotten a little out of hand recently, and like
Yeah, I don't trust reviews
I mean, yeah.
completely because someone's
especially in
opinion.
Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, especially Rotten Tomatoes.
Because like there's a lot of negative reviews so far from movies. Like there's only like a big percentage of movies recently have all been on Rotten,
right.
which is pretty crazy.
I feel like, I mean, I've said before, and this is, I guess it kind of carries in the way that we do reviews. I feel like people are curators. And that, like, you find somebody who likes the same thing you like, and then you watch them do stuff. And, like, if you like what they like, then, you more than likely will like whatever they recommend. So, for instance, if you have noticed so far that you like anything Var says that you pretty much agree with, you will probably like what he likes in sets. So if he says,
Yeah.
like
No
Skull
one
Bender-
likes VAR.
Well, I mean, it's probably freaking Meso. Man, that poll on the board is just.
People
most
like
Hey,
VAR.
we're all of us are pretty equal ground now. It's like 30 to 40%, apart from Meso, which is at 50%.
Exactly,
I don't
that's
know
what I'm
what
saying.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about, VAR? People like you. People would like you more if you
Yeah.
put out autopsies.
Okay, listen. I mean, Meso's
Hey,
giving VAR crap
listen.
for this. Meso doesn't have, like, what's your
I'm
series,
not saying
Meso?
that. I'm
What do
just
you
saying
do?
people would like it more if we put out more autopsies.
Okay, here's what Meso does for
not
the
a jab.
podcast. He shows up late. He shows up
wasn't a
late.
jab!
And then VAR edits it. And then Meso makes the video at the end. So he does work. I'm not
Mesa
like,
makes a
I wasn't
slideshow.
jabbing. Stating a fact.
It felt like
And even then,
it-
people complain
dude,
about that
it felt like
slideshow all
a
the
jab.
time.
You're like, if you did an autopsy, people
No,
might like
listen.
you more.
If I
thought it
was
a jab.
jabbing at somebody, I would say, "Hey, Kai, where's on air?" That would be a jab. VAR's done autopsies.
I know.
Jab.
Now you just now you try to use that as an excuse to like, oh no, I
I mean,
wasn't
yeah,
actually
it's
just-
still a jab.
Yeah, it's still a
just
jab.
lesser of a jab.
Yeah.
You should have a series VAR that's not so informative. You should have a series where you can show your comedic prowess.
I'm not funny though.
That's funny. See? You made a joke.
What?
That's a funny joke.
Haha, that was funny. See,
Oh, so funny. I'm rolling on the ground.
That wasn't a joke, I'm not
funny.
It's killing me.
You're a laugh
good
riot.
no.
So this RPG that we did,
That
Really
was
Oh,
funny.
that was funny.
That was comedy
That
gold.
was
I have
so
read your
funny.
novelization. Well done. Innocent
Thank you.
people
My
can't afford me.
novelization.
My thumb points down. This is the RPG. Great.
this
oh yeah.
podcast sucks.
Hey, does
Okay,
it
so
suck?
here's what happened in the RPG. By the way, well, you should link to the thing, Meso,
Will do.
just in case people have a better idea of what's going on. Basically, we did a beta test of the RPG. We just did like a session. We didn't record it. And I wish we.
I
out
wish
of
we
nowhere. I
did
didn't
now. In
intend-
fact, next
I
time
didn't
we'll
intend
do
for it to
that.
become a thing.
Yeah, it was a.
I cracked a joke and people started going along with it.
Right. So basically, what happens is that we just washed up on a beach, and
I
Tarago
don't know,
wanted.
you came up with a boat.
Yeah. Oh, where's the boat? We could have used the boat. I would have totally
know.
used the boat. I forgot about that boat.
Yeah, the
okay.
boat
They
was
dropped
sitting
it
Anyhow.
off
there
and
for
went
the
away.
entire
We attacked the
basically, there was
Taraga and
a-
got attacked by Vaki, and LJ betrayed
no,
the
no,
team.
hold on. You're going way too fast. Those
Yeah,
are not the
yeah,
good
yeah.
Bits.
Yeah.
We there was a Taraga, and he was like, "Hey, you want to buy some discs?" And Viper's like, "Well, I wanna steal some discs." And Ben just punched the Taraga in the face. So we had a deal, and like we did this whole
I
thing.
want to steal some discs. Punch.
Yep.
That's exactly how it went.
He offered to sell them some Kanoka, and they said no, but we'll steal them.
Yep.
And they
The funny part is
Apparently-
that when Ven's character punched him in the face, his canoe flew off, and I chased after it.
Yeah, he dove into the
flying
water.
in the water.
Yeah, I like jumped and grabbed
it.
it before it fell in the water.
What are we? Some kind of suicide squad?
I didn't want to
was,
kill the Taraga. I just wanted to hurt him really, really bad.
Really, really bad.
Which sucks because we ended up killing
And
him.
we
Ah,
did.
he wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
I did. Well, okay, here's my thing. My character is a team player. I'm not a team player most of the time, but like my character was. And so what happens is that when Taraga hit the Taraga, I was like, oh no, he's gonna scream for help. We got to deal with this. I was like, all right, someone's got to throat punch him. Like, I'm a Matoran, and like, so I was like, I don't know if it should be a Toa who has a better strength, because I put all my stuff in intelligence. And like, some Toa should go and punch him in the throat. And I was like, Meso, LJ, one of you guys to punch him in the throat. And LJ was like, oh no, I don't know. So stupid LJ, gets in front of the Taraga and like, holds his arm out. Like he's Jesus dying on the cross. And like, in front of the Taraga. Like, no, you can't do this.
Quite like that, but sure.
Yeah, no, okay, sure. He was like Peter dying upside down. Whatever.
He was body blocking, basically.
He was like, I'm gonna be the upright, moral citizen.
I'm upright, moral Toa. I'm like, what the? Okay, come on. So then I was like, all right, Meso, can you use your shadow powers? And Meso did an attack that like he did like a shadow tendril.
It was
attack.
like a shadow bolt that like curved around LJ.
It curved around LJ, and it hit Taraga in the throat, and it hit him so hard. Like Takuma was like, all right, if you you have to roll really low, and if you get him, he might be out for a round. And Meso did such a hard attack, he was out for 8 rounds.
Yeah, he was out while
he
we were
was
getting
just, like,
attacked for God knows how long.
He never really recovered.
He was basically just flopping
Yeah.
around up till the end.
So
Yeah.
like, then I was like, all right, we got to kill him. I mean,
It was about this point where like 3 Vaki came.
Yeah, 3
Yeah, the
Vaki
Vaki
flew
came.
overhead and we were like, should we run?
man.
And then Kai was
If
like,
I-
no,
like-
we need to kill the Taraga.
Yeah.
We can't have him testify against us.
Yep.
LD was like, oh, we need to get him to testify. We could say that he threatened us with a weakness disc. And like, there's 6 people here. There's not like going to be a thing. Anyhow, long story
it was somewhere
short.
in here that you pulled 3 Kanoka out of his pack or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, basically, long story short, LD betrayed us all. He
Yeah,
betrayed me.
he tattletaled on us.
He tried to. His plan was to tie me to tie me up with vines and then blame the whole thing on me, which I
He was
felt
gonna
was
pull a
kind of like.
Spider-Man on you.
He was doing a thing where like he was taking outside the thing. His character and my character in the RPG don't have that. We shouldn't be acting like this. But LD doesn't understand true art, role playing.
True
He
art.
was just like,
He
no, I'm
doesn't
just gonna
understand
screw
true
Kahi over.
Says the one who wanted to form this elaborate tactical plan in the span of about 5 seconds.
Yeah, he's just
That's
like
my
trying
character.
to talk to
I have
me
a lot of intelligence
while-
points. That's my character.
LJ was just
I wrote
like,
it in my bio.
Kahi did this, so I'm gonna get Kahi arrested and or killed.
Pretty much.
That was basically what it boiled down to.
And
Right, I was like,
basically,
Viper's the one who
LJ
wanted
just got
to
wrecked.
steal from him. I'm just the guy who my character. I'm not the guy. My character is the guy who plans all the stuff out, and I have a high intelligence stat, and like we know that's part of my thing.
Yep.
I have all the intelligent abilities too. Like I can analyze and I can convince people to do stuff, and I can do all that stuff.
Well,
but I'm
only if you
Tauren,
can
so I don't have
convince
any
them
elemental powers.
IRL. Like Takuma said, you were gonna convince LJ to not tell on us, and it didn't work.
I was gonna say you can't. There's some
Right.
roles you can make within the party, so to speak, but not things like persuasion.
Yeah, whereas like
That comes
NPC
down to
characters, you can
role-playing.
persuade them.
Right, and so LJ kept trying to kill me, and I was like, well, you're not this isn't good role playing, but we roll with it. And then so everybody on the team turned around to attack Meso because he just kind of attacked somebody out of the blue.
Not me.
And Meso did a fear, he did, what would you call it?
That was like a nightmare attack, right?
Yeah.
I looked at
He,
LJ.
he used
right.
shadows to like mangle his face or something.
Basically.
visually.
Yeah, he made himself
Right.
look really, really scary, and LJ went insane.
But, LJ, he rolled so high, LJ went mad.
The
He went
attack
through
was
all
so
8 stages.
high, it sent him insane.
And he attacked the Vaki, and the Vaki realized that everything he talked about was just all bull. Because he told the Vaki that I did it, and he did call reinforcement. And so then he started attacking the Vaki, and then we were like, okay. So I spent this entire time, and this entire build-up, we won't be able to get. I wish we could have recorded it. I spent the entire session you recorded it?
No, I wish we had.
Oh, okay. Well, I spent the entire session trying to see. I had a level 8 weakness disc, and I kept trying to aim it at LJ, and I wasn't able to get there.
Let's not forget about how you got out of the vines, though.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
I blasted myself out of the vines. Yeah, I have a telekinetic scepter, and I tried to launch it at LJ, and instead I launched it at the ground, and I catapulted myself out.
Into the
'cause I
ocean.
think outside the box
Mist.
like that. So I spent like all time trying to get like, how am I going to get back at LJ? And then like at the last second, I decided to think outside the box and instead give the disc to Meso.
That part was
Because the
so
way it worked,
funny.
like-
Yeah, it was like,
the
Meso,
epic
it was
music
the
started
disc.
playing. They're like,
Okay, well, yeah, what happens like
Actually,
right,
yeah, something missed is that early on, Meso created a field of shadow, which was just making it harder for everyone to see, except for him.
right,
Yep.
right. So it was like the way it works. It was like it was Venom, then Viper, then me, then Meso, then LJ. And I'd spent like countless turns, and these turns went long. I'd spent countless turns thinking like, should I aim it at LJ? And I was like, no, not now. I'll save it. And so for this last moment, like LJ's kind of insane, and we're like, we can do it. And I was yelling at everybody, get me a clear shot. And then and I was like, all right, Takuma, if I was able to do this and this, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, wait, I'm gonna do none of that. And instead, I run and I give the disc to Meso, who he doesn't have like the field. He's not
My
negated by
accuracy
the
is
shadow
basically the highest
cloud.
it could be in the given situation.
Yeah,
yeah.
his accuracy was super high, and he took a turn to aim too, so that like he could get a +10 thing on LJ. So he hit LJ, and it hit him so bad that LJ went into a coma.
Yeah, then we threw
Like
then
the
someone
disc
threw
was
him
so
in the
strong,
sea.
LJ just like he went into a coma.
Yep, and then Vin picked him up and threw him
Then
in the
threw
sea.
him in the sea
He
like a
threw him into
javelin.
the
Like
sea.
no,
Right.
not a javelin, one of those like wrecking ball things. You know Miss
Right.
Trunchbull from Matilda, she like swings that thing around.
He basically
was like one of
grabbed LJ
those.
by the feet and just helicoptered him a few turns before just launching him.
It was pretty
And
bad.
LJ drowned that day.
Guys, this whole conversation, it's kind of reminded me of like an event where someone tries to describe you a joke, and it's just not funny at all. But it's like if you guys had gone to like a stand-up comedian like showing, and then went back to your friends and retold all the jokes you heard there.
I'll let him cry.
That is true. It really just like we
You
should
had to be there, Bar.
we
I know!
should have recorded it. We should have recorded it.
It was the greatest thing
Yeah,
ever.
that would be really good.
Moral of the story: when we get to the RPG, look forward to it. It's gonna be great.
Hey, well, we
We're
It's
all
were
gonna
gonna
be
die.
amazing.
We tested that. That was like the test thing of our methodology, and it's a grand success. 2 thumbs
We
up.
might have to do one more. Like I know you fixed some stuff to Kuma. We might do one more test before then.
Yeah.
Like with a couple people, because so we can get in the rhythm of taking turns and doing all
Yeah,
that
because
stuff.
it was pretty disorganized at parts.
Right. I mean, like it was just like we were just getting used to it. That was the thing. It wasn't completely,
Kind of learning the system.
Right.
Yeah.
But hopefully hopefully we can get it done, and other people can go and do the same. That'd be really cool. And we should get some art. We should get some art done.
Which would be nice.
I'll get some art.
Thank you, Rob. Hint, hint.
All right.
Well, I was trying to like design my character the other day because we're gonna have like little sprites.
Yeah,
on,
but you can't
on the
draw.
board.
Ouch!
Whoa.
Ouch!
What?
You said yeah, but you can't draw.
Oh, I don't care.
It was a joke. You can draw pretty well.
Thank you. That's good from your like you saying that because your art's really good.
All right. Enough about kissing.
I'm not trying to like make this like turn this
Uh-huh.
into like
Yeah,
some,
sure.
like foot kissing contest or anything. But it's like
Oh, foot kissing. I should have gone to that. Okay.
But I
yeah,
like my feet
enough foot
being
kissing.
kissed.
All right.
You know, I realized that because of my saltiness earlier in the episode, we forgot to do our our weekly vessel plug.
Oh, we did. Okay.
He's like-
well, hey,
World's
guess
gonna
what,
win.
guys?
Well, like,
you're a
the
week late.
butterfly effect.
Maybe we've already
We can
done
just
the
like edit it
RPG
in
by
at the
now.
beginning, I suppose.
Nah, I don't think it's worth it. It's okay.
No.
They know the drill.
Organic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
We'll do it next week.
If you want to pay us money,
It's pretty much
you
time.
pay
We
us
should probably start wrapping up though.
Yeah.
But before we end, there is one thing I'd like to mention in brief, and that is on the TTV Message Boards, we have updated our policy regarding leaks. Short version being, we're not taking away your ability to talk about leaks, but
Yeah, we
there's
are.
been... We're taking away your ability to talk about leaks that we don't report on and or confirm as being real.
because there's so
There's
many fake
way
leaks,
too many
apparently.
fake leaks. It is...
I
ridiculous.
honestly, there's been more fake leaks this year than I feel like I've
Ever.
seen.
Ever.
Any,
Yeah, I've
ever
never seen this many fake
in
leaks
any
before.
year by
This has been a really, really awful.
So-
these people
awful year.
try too hard.
They're trying to get
Yeah.
they're trying to get
No,
their
they
5
don't. They don't try too
Yeah, they're
hard.
not trying to. They're trying to get their 5 minutes of fame, so they can have their name out there or whatever. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
because they think it's
and
funny.
It's
But
gotten
it's
to the
stupid.
point where it's ridiculous, and like every time I go on the boards, it's like something is being talked about that's like obviously fake.
Yeah,
And
there's too many fake leaks and there's too many gullible people.
basically,
Right.
unfortunately. So
we're taking the burden from you. From now
if
on,
you see a leak
yeah.
which you have a question about, send it to us via PM or even just post it and we'll flag it and we'll come take a look at it. You can send it to our YouTube channel, private messages. You could even post it in the YouTube comments. We will take a look at it. We will respond to you. And we're going to keep a running tally of everything in a topic and or
Right.
post on our
Yeah.
website so
Yeah.
you know what
I
is
think we might
safe
do
to
both.
talk about and what is not.
right? We'll give a list of stuff that we like, all the leaks that we found, and if they're confirmed, if they're probably fake, but we haven't found any proof of it, and if they're definitely fake, like we found like a mock that was used from it in another site or that kind of thing. So that way, it will be maybe not just for our members, but like for the community. You can also turn back to this page and be like, "Oh, hey, is this legit?" And then you can link back to that page if someone's.
So to
asking
reiterate,
about, the ghost leaks.
To reiterate, in
or
case
whatever.
you're confused, discussion of leaks not allowed on the message boards unless we report on them first. You'll be able to. We'll have like a little directory so you can tell what's real, what's fake, and what you are allowed to talk about on the boards. But otherwise, unless you hear it from us, you're not allowed to discuss it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just to keep people like.
And in the case of
not
system
gullible.
things, like stuff we wouldn't normally report on, that will be just like a verified thing. You can check the index for that.
It's a shame this rule has to exist because, like, we've always been pretty prideful in the fact that we're kind of one of the only communities that are allowed to talk about leaks.
We're not allowed.
I mean,
but,
we
like,
just do it,
do
yeah, because like we don't have any like strong connection with Lego at the moment. It's just like it's kind of a shame because leak discussion is always a big part of the BIONICLE community. It's been a big part of us historically, as far as how TTV's handled and everything. So talking about leaks is not something we want to get rid of, but unfortunately, it's been too big of an issue. So got to be addressed somehow.
Like, leak season is my favorite part of the BIONICLE community, but this year it's gotten skewered in like every possible way.
Yeah, screw you, everybody who keeps making fake leaks. I hate you. I personally dislike
I
you
hate
a
them
lot.
because none of them are good. They're all terrible.
Yep. But Kahi over here,
I hate
makes
Kahi,
fake
too.
leaks.
Yeah, I mean, I dislike people
Okay,
like
listen.
that for misleading
Kahi
everybody,
was
and
like,
then everyone gets
listen.
disappointed.
Kahi was like, if I wasn't a member of TTV, I'd be making fake
Yeah, so
leaks to troll you
basically,
guys.
here's your thing. If you like VAR, don't make a fake leak. If you like Kahi, do whatever the heck you want.
All I said is that I feel like it's a forgery thing. You know,
Forgeries
you try to make
aren't
a forgery.
good
People
either!
don't-
Well,
I
if
think-
you
I
like
think-
Kahi, then you've probably got the world as your oyster.
Yeah, if you like Kahi, you
mentality.
will probably end up in jail in the next 5 years.
I listen. I'm just saying. I am just saying that I would find it impressive if a leak was actually convincing enough to be fair, but none of them are convincing. I'm not
No.
saying that you should do it. I'm saying that I would not look on it with disdain as I do with these fake leaks because they're so obviously fake and people just fall for them. Put some effort into it sometimes, guys. All right.
How?
yeah, if you're
Also,
gonna
let's
trick
just
us,
stop
at
being
least
so
do
gullible,
it
people,
right.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we not?
We all,
like, can we
I kind of mentioned this in like a
take things
write-up
with a
I did.
huge grain
It's
of
like,
salt?
people have brains, people have the capacity for critical thought. Use this as a learning experience, and like, approach everything with a grain of salt and know what to look for to determine whether a leak is fake or not. It's not that difficult.
I wish I could have more faith in the community. You know,
People gotta grow.
this whole experience
the
has
whole-
turned
the
my
reason-
opinion on TTV is like so elitist now. We are elitist. We hate everybody. We're the only people that know what we're doing because everyone else seems to not know what they're doing.
Wow.
Come on, guys.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Well, look, it's like I was thinking about this, and it's like the BIONICLE community. This is the community that exists right now in our message boards and in our YouTube comments is a lot different than it was a couple of years ago. Because with the advent of BIONICLE's return, a lot of new people have come out of the woodwork, be they old fans or new people, and they may not have the experience that we have, and they will get it, but they don't have it yet.
Unfortunately,
So you need to get it. You need to
Right,
use
we should
this
keep
as
it.
a learning experience, everybody.
I just think this was me like 5 years ago.
Would you have fallen
would I
for
think-
like all the obviously fake stuff?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I
that's what
still
I'm-
kind of fall for fake stuff now.
What
I
gets
just
me
don't
is
say
that
anything about it in
what
case
gets
I'm
me
wrong.
is not even these fake leaks. I've seen people post videos on YouTube about like leaked 2016 sets, and it's like fan art someone made 4 years ago,
Yeah, I know.
like out of like colored pencils.
Nuclear, guys.
It's not even a Photoshop job. A color pencil fan art drawing. Someone's like, "This is a leak for 2016." Like, are you serious? Are you real? Are you a real person?
It's pretty bizarre.
Obviously troll.
I had a dream about the
He might not be obviously trolling. He might just kind of be misled or
No,
stupid.
I was joking because people usually say that like obviously troll.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all right. That's the when I said that, when I made that statement that I would be making, like, I said it privately in call, but you made it
I
public,
did.
so sure. I want to clarify that what I meant to say. What I meant with that is that, like, I feel that people, it's so obviously fake that you could do a better job at it, and I feel I could do a better job at making it a fake leak. That's what I was saying.
Oh,
like, that's
I'm
the reason
absolutely
I was
confident I
saying
can
not-
make a fake leak. They would definitely trick everybody.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we're good
Yeah,
at Photoshop
I've got plenty of
enough
Photoshop
to,
experience.
like,
I
we
can
can make a
totally do it.
convincing, and we also know how leaks generally look like, and what they actually appear, and you'd have to do like some 3D modeling.
You probably wouldn't even need to do that as long as you've got
good
good,
Photoshop
like, good
skills.
lighting set up and decent camera and everything to capture it, and you know how to
Right, but,
manipulate
like,
it
see-
enough.
Right, but like I guess like it's such a thing where it's so obviously fake, and you could do a better job. And how are people falling for this? That's what I don't get. So that was my statement. They were like, to kind of, maybe as a social experiment, maybe as a thing, I would, but not because I'm TTV and I'd never do
You
that.
would never
because
spread
we'd
misinformation.
Yeah, I'd never spread
All right, let's
misinformation.
wrap up.
Yeah. All right.
That reboot, guys.
So, thank you everybody for listening to episode 158 of the TTV podcast. As far as our usual plugs are concerned, you can check us out on vessel.com/the TTV channel to view episode 159 right now if you're watching this episode on
Unless
YouTube.
it's delayed. By the way, yes.
Unless it's
last
delayed.
week it was delayed. We didn't do a podcast because I was out of town. So
Yeah, we're back on our normal routine, so you can look forward to seeing that.
if you don't see an
Take a
episode in
vacation.
Vessel and it's not there by the next day, we just didn't record one. Just assume that we're not
Yeah.
releasing one that week.
You can also check our Twitter
Right.
for updates
Yeah, because
on
then
that.
you're pleasantly surprised.
because like
if there is one.
it's not like TTV is going down. We didn't. Our studio didn't catch fire or something. We just
Our studio!
Yeah, our massive
wish we
studio.
we
had
just
that
didn't
we
record a
catch fire.
podcast that week. It's okay.
Yeah. And also, you can check out the TTV Message Boards at board.tvpodcast.com to engage in all that fun discussion about BIONICLE. We should get 2016 pictures any day now. Last year they came out September 15th. So, here's hoping. And, also check us out at store.tvpodcast.com. Buy some shirts. That's cool. And that's all.
Audible.
Thank you all for listening. And we will see you next week.
Get a free audiobook.
I'm messing up.
At audibletrial.com.
Oh yeah, audiobook,
/TTV.
audibletrial.com. Ooh, yeah, Can you get an audiobook of Island of Lost Mass?
Oh, that's a great
You
question.
can't.
Is that a thing?
I know. I looked it up. You can't. They don't. Not right now.
It'll
At least
probably
they
show
don't
up
have any
eventually,
listed.
maybe.
I think so. The audiobooks have become very popular recently. A lot of people
Because
use
Audible's
Audible.
all over YouTube.
So
That's why.
yeah, exactly.
The animation narrator should do the
You know what's
audiobook.
really great about audiobooks? If you've got a car, which I know half our audience doesn't. If you've got a car, listening to an audiobook on a long trip is a great, great experience.
Nice.
Oh, it really is.
So,
Alright, well, we will see you all next week. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm messing
I'm
up.
bartering.
Goodbye.
I'm bartering.
Oh.
He
this
just
is
he
message
just
did!
went.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I messed that up. I'm Kahi.
I'm
I
Viper.
didn't. I'm too good.
And this is 158. See you all next week.
Bye.
I didn't hear Messa say it either.
Yeah,
I said it!
He said it.
Okay.
Okay, no, I'm not
Messa,
saying
you say a lot.
I did say a lot.
That's, you're kind of an idiot.
I'm
Ouch.
kind of a...
Kinda.
True,
I'm kind
but
of a
ouch.
visionary. I'm just too far
Kind
ahead
of
of my
visionary?
time.
One man's idiot is another man's visionary.
Visionary. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is a visionary. You're just. But I mean, Steve Jobs did say some stuff with absolute certainty.
Goodbye.
So.
Goodbye.